Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best You interview series. It's Gary here again. Thank you as always for taking the time to tune in to this episode. And today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by educator and the current dean of the School of Applied Digital Technology, which is SADT for short, at the Southern Alberta Institute for Technology, which is SAIT for short, Cherie Bowker, who is here to discuss leadership in education, primarily focusing on her journey as a woman in leadership positions within the education industry, especially in tech in education, where the ratio of male to female isn't what I would exactly say is balanced based on my experience thus far. Cherie is in the process of finishing her second master's degree. This time it's an MBA in leadership. And Cherie has amassed over 25 years of experience as a college administrator, including teaching, curriculum development across 4 post-secondary institutions in all facets of architectural design, illustration, animation, immersive art, experience design, media, and now focusing on technology. More recently, as I mentioned, Cherie took on the role of Dean at SADT, which involved moving across the country, essentially, to give herself the opportunity to take up that and joining a new institution and getting to know a new city and really getting in to work on an important leadership role. And very interestingly, and I hope we get an opportunity to talk about this, as we were going through the pre-recording of this, Cherie had said, I always wondered what deans do. And then has subsequently become a dean. And I'm really interested to see if what you thought they were doing and what they actually do is even remotely close. So maybe we get a chance to chat about that. Cherie is all about achieving excellence in leadership, and she does this with passion, with an energy, which I'm absolutely certain will come out completely through the entire interview and, accompanied with her enthusiasm in abundance. And I know this firsthand because Cherie and I met on a panel that I was moderating a wee while back there with the WCT, the Women in Communication and Technology Alberta chapter here in Calgary. And we just had such a great conversation, and there's just an energy you get from certain people, which is different to certain other people in terms of positivity, in terms of people paying attention, people listening. And I know this kind of firsthand on a more personal basis because Cherie is the dean of the school that my love Erin works in as well, and Cherie has created an absolutely fabulous impression on Erin, and Erin has let's just say dramatically changed for the better her enthusiasm for work and her approach to what it is she's doing, which is very, very welcome in our household. So it's like a win-win-win for everyone involved. Cherie, thank you very much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Gary. Well, that was quite an introduction. And I don't remember even saying that last time about what do deans do, or that I used to wonder that. But you're right, I did. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I told him that. But it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's one of these things where you kind of don't really think about things until you're there.
Yeah.
And then you either have this reflective moment or you have this in-moment where you're thinking, this is much better than I thought. This is much different than I thought. This is not what I thought. And invariably, you don't really know until you're actually genuinely living and walking in the shoes as well. So I'd actually like to talk about that a wee bit. I always take an opportunity in the beginning. I provided a wee bit of an overview there. But tell me about your experience. Why education, making a shift in disciplines from a more creative architectural type function to being at the forefront of technology education in a province, in a city that is exponentially growing in terms of tech startups and tech being tech centric as an organization, as a city, I should say. Mm-hmm. How did that all come about for you?
Yeah, well, I have to say, so I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I often tell people that because I think that when you're an eldest and there are that many that keep coming into your life, you just kind of naturally take on a bit of a leadership role or a teacher role. So I think, honestly, I have memories of learning how to read, so going to school, and I loved school. Like, Gary, I cannot tell you how much I loved school. I was just like, when is summer going to be over? Like, I was that child, kind of like that A student, type A, whatever. But as soon as I learned something, I would bring it home and be like, you have to learn, I have to show you what I learned today. So I literally think I just had a teacher. I was a teacher at heart, and I wanted to bring that back to my family. And I was a musician as a young kid. I was a skater, and I got into teaching very early on. As soon as I was 16 in figure skating, I went pro. I began
Oh,
to
wow.
coach other students. And then my main instrument, believe it or not, was accordion before I went into piano. And as soon as I learned some skills there, I set up classes, I think from about age 9 or 10 on, where I was like, come and I'll teach you accordion. So I think that desire to teach was just in me. So even though I was a designer, which I loved, and I was kind of in that corporate world in downtown Toronto, as soon as the opportunity came up to teach, I just jumped on it. So, some of my first courses were drawing and architectural illustration and things like that. And I was like, how old would I have been? I don't even want to say because I don't have to discuss my age right now, but it was a while ago and I was in my 20s and many
Yeah.
of the students were much older than me. So it was kind of like a bit of a surreal moment, but it gets in your blood. It never left. It's at this stage of my life what I know, and I'm very passionate about education.
Yeah, I love that. And that must have been quite a surreal experience for you if most of your education experience before that had been with people who were literally younger than you, assuming that was the case in the music
Yeah.
area as well, and then having that somewhat daunting experience of saying, oh, wait a minute, there is a possibility you might know more about some things that I'm going to teach you than I do. Did that ever
Yeah.
come across? Did you have any
Oh my
experiences like
gosh.
that?
Well, here's what nobody knows about me. I am very, very shy. So I'm naturally shy. I was a kid that didn't speak very much. I would sit at the back of the class. I wanted great grades and things like that, but I was very, very quiet. So when I even did presentations in college and such, I would shake, I would go red. So I couldn't even speak to the point where I took a waitressing job. I should say server. That's the correct term. I took a serving job to be able to see if I could even talk to the people in the restaurant because I couldn't. I was very, very nervous to do that, and I would kind of get stuttering and things like that. So it really took a lot of practice. So the first time I taught a class, everybody's much older than me. It's continuing education.
Yeah,
Oh man, I was shaking. These were the days, by the way, where we had transparencies, like an overhead projector. No
yeah,
such thing as Windows or PowerPoint. It was
yeah.
overhead projector, and I would stack up other overheads, and it was such a cool thing because then I could show the floor plan. Now with furniture, now with this. That's how we did it back in 1850, and that's how it was. And I was excited about it, but very, very nervous. So it took me many years of going, okay, what do I need to do now? How do I need to get this skill? This is not natural for me. I have strong ideas, but I felt very nervous to communicate them.
Yeah. Do you know what makes me think of, in terms of, for anyone thinking about doing anything like that, of educating other people, there tends to come with a lot of people a bit of an insecurity. I don't know enough. Other people will think I'm a fraud or a fake or in
Yeah.
some way, nefarious for even trying to do this. And it makes me think of a Tiger Woods interview, whether you like Tiger Woods or you don't, or whether you like golf or you don't, it doesn't really matter. But he was in the absolute depths of his, I mean, I guess you could say meltdown. He had a very bad experience, pretty much self-caused, quite frankly.
Mhm.
And one of the journalists was giving him a bit of a hard time about how poor of a golfer he'd actually turned out to be, and very well media trained and such. And he said, the one crumb of comfort that I have is that I know that no matter how bad I get at this thing, I will always be better than you. And it was one of these, it was a brilliant moment because it really, for me, as an educator myself, that ability to be able to say, there might be things, of course, that someone else knows, or a new thing that's come in that you haven't quite heard of or grasped yet. But I know what the curriculum is. I know what your experience and your journey thus far has been. I know how to get this information across to you. I know how important this can be for the thing you're pursuing, whether it's a certificate or a degree or whatever that looks like. And if you trust me with this information, I'm going to give you a good experience. You're going to get exactly what you need. And that's what I want for every educator out there, because my inspiration back in the day was basically bad teachers, and not so
Yep.
much in terms of, they were bad people. It was a delivery thing. There was no
Yeah.
storytelling. There was no entertainment or anything. And then I had a couple of animated teachers, and I thought, "Ooh, I would love to give people that type and style of experience." I call it now edutainment, where we
Oh,
will
I
get
love
through
that.
the curriculum,
Yeah.
and we're going to have a laugh. If you don't want to have a laugh, this is going to be a long couple of days for you. But, like those sorts of things. So it's great to see the different types and styles of education. So
Yeah.
you then get to, being in the administration side, the leadership side of education. How did that,
How did I
did that,
shift?
yeah, was it,
Yeah.
what was your experience like? Was it more or less enjoyable? Did you feel the influence that you were hoping to feel when you moved over?
So interesting. There was somewhere when I was kind of in, I don't even want to say middle earth because I don't see positions as hierarchical. I honestly don't. I really think that the higher you go, and I put quotations around that, really you should be the foundation of a home. You really should be that structure that holds everything else up. And I just believe in that so wholly. Um, but when I became a chair in Lethbridge, so I did live in Lethbridge for a while and I worked there. And that was a mission of mine to move into kind of program coordinator. I had a real innovative vision. I wanted to build a school badly. And I was very interested in technology. And so where I was a designer and illustrating, I'd had an illustration background as well. I started to realize that game engines should be able to do a lot of what we needed in architecture and design. And so I became obsessed with 3D modeling and gamifying architecture. That's my
Yeah,
tech love. And
yeah,
I love software. So I just love figuring it out. I love coding. I love those things. But that wasn't passionate. I wasn't passionate about being a chair. It was more about the innovation of building a school. We
yeah,
developed a couple new programs and put the School of Spatial Design Technologies together. Um, so I made the shift because I believed in these things for design. So I'll say that that's kind of how I had that direction where I went. But as I got there, like you said, you have good teachers and bad teachers, and it makes you think, oh, I wonder if, I became interesting. I became increasingly interested in leadership. What
yeah,
would a good associate dean look like? What would they do? How would they speak to team? How would they motivate other people that were doing things? So I did have a bit of an associate dean role stint back in Ontario. And honestly, I was like, I can either, I might be terrible and everyone's like, what the heck? And I'll just go back. Or maybe I'll really love that leadership and people will sort of, it makes me cry almost because I think about people that if that see your heart, know you want to build something good, they know you care about them and they come with you. That
yeah.
was the thing I was really looking for. So I was successful in that. Those relationships will be with me forever. When I even think about those people, I want to cry. I miss them so much. They were so dear to me. So I sort of did it gradually. I'm in another role now, testing it again because, I came in again going, this is another position, another level of responsibility. I might be terrible. I'll go back to teaching, like whatever. And maybe I don't know, but I do know this. I care so deeply about innovative programming, the success of students. And now my faculty feel like my students. I'm
Yeah.
old enough that I can do that now. It'd be like everyone else is younger than me and my faculty feel like that classroom to me. So I think it's still there. The teacher in me is still there.
Yeah.
I want them to feel successful. You have no idea how much I care about that. And it's hard. Like there are decisions that I have to make that are hard. But you know what? When I say to my team, we're in this together, I honestly mean that. I will lay down, we will figure this out. Let's do this together. Let's hold hands, get through this, and then come up with a solution that we decide together.
And did you, I mean, this is the epitome of effective leadership for me. And I hope that people that are watching or listening to this get a chance to feel the energy that Cherie brings. And again, back to my own personal experience, I know the impact it's having on the people who are in your
Oh,
faculty,
so
just in
kind.
terms of their experience and their enjoyment of it, almost like like a reawakening of some
Oh,
description to say, I just got so bogged down by the atmosphere, by the politics, by the grind that I forgot why I even wanted to do this in the first place. And
oh,
now I have this awakening to say, I get all of that stuff is there, but it's being managed in a completely wholly different supportive way. And I get to concentrate on some good things. And I know that my voice will be heard in
yeah.
this as well. And that's incredible. What, what were were your role models in terms of leadership that you've taken inspiration from?
Yeah. I'll tell you about the person. I won't say their name because I've had some really great and really poor experiences. But there was one gentleman that came to the institution. So I'm going to be really vague here,
Yeah,
who I felt who went to battle for me, who fought for me, got me that full-time permanent position, really fought for me. And it really changed everything for me, because when you're in a temporary role, and I was temporary for so many years, that teaching is like that. You have to put in your time to get that permanent. It's like a tenured position.
Yeah.
And he fought for me. And I don't know, I hope he knows what he did. I've told him. But actually, two. I will say this about two of my deans that really fought for me, that have helped me to be where I am, two of them. And it has seemed like there have been times, and not to talk negatively, but you can tell the difference between someone who might feel threatened, like they, not that I don't mean I'm threatening in some way, but like that you might, what would it be? Like they're not collaborative. They want it their way. They're in it for their career. You can just tell the difference to somebody that's like, we are a team. I'm here to elevate the people that are hardworking and want, sort of to be collaborative, and that gets elevated, versus the people that are truly in it for themselves, because you'll find different leaders at the top, if you will, some that got there by stepping on people. And I think fewer literally care about the importance of leadership. But I mean, I'll tell you, at SAIT, I'm with a team, and I say this with my whole heart. I adore my boss, adore. I will hold her up in every mention her in every chance opportunity that I get. I love our deans. It's truly a place right now that the culture is incredible, and we support each other, and we don't compete, but we're really there to integrate with one another. So I'm glad for that, because we're all people that really, really care about that type of leadership.
Yeah, what a fantastic experience to have, even some of the more negative things, because you're learning from what I don't want to do or what I don't want to be known as in the future as well. And I've some of the greatest learnings I've had is might have worked for you, not 100% sure what you were actually trying to do at that point, but I will never, ever do that. And it's a poignant lesson in of itself. I also had a leader back in the day, and I use this phrase now: I will tell you what I know. If I can, and if I can't, I will tell you I can't, and which is information in and of itself. Because if I tell you what I know, that will hopefully demystify, that some of the decisions that are being made, and it will hopefully, verify or in some way make clear some of the decisions that are being made, where you can understand the context behind it. Whether you agree or disagree with the decision is almost immaterial, as long as you can understand it. And give yourself that opportunity to do that. And one of the things I really got from your examples of both of those deans, or actually maybe even vicariously with some of the more negative ones, Cherie, was taking it beyond. You categorized it as leadership, and I agree. Taking it beyond yourself. What is this? What is the function of this role? What do we want? We want a successful organization. We want other people to be successful. What is genuinely to be gained by pushing people down, by keeping people in a box, by pushing people into a corner? And when you start to think of what's best on this occasion, what's best for SAIT, and if you constantly ask that question, and then have people thinking along the lines of saying, okay, if it's not genuinely about winning or losing as an individual or a collection of individuals or as a department or a school, and it's really about what's the best for the organization at large, because guess what? You work for the organization.
That's right.
It's not the other way around, regardless of anything that, the organizations would say in terms of wellness or well-being programs. There's a transactional relationship here, but it can be a different type of style of relationship, when you take the transaction out of it and you're satisfying, the base minimum.
Yeah. And trust is everything. Like, it does take time. I'm overwhelmed and grateful, and just, I do think there's trust in our school now. It's been a year, and what a year it's been. And somebody, I get emotional when I talk about leadership. I don't know what it is, but somebody on my 1-year anniversary said, congratulations. He's on our team. One of our faculty said, it feels like yesterday, or like you just started. And it also feels like you've been here forever. And I just felt so emotional about that. And, so that was really meaningful to me. There has to be trust and transparency. I think you have to tell people the truth, and always tell people the truth. Always tell them the truth. Like, if you can't do something, it's just in my DNA. Like, people that don't say the truth drive me crazy. I don't understand it at all. Like, just say the truth. If you can't say the truth, just say, I can't say anything. I can't
Yeah.
actually tell you what's going, but I will say that I have your back, that sort of thing. But people that lie to get ahead and things like that, I'm too old for that these days. So
Yeah.
screw that. I think we need to be in this together, building something great, because we say we're here for students and for education. And I believe that about our faculty. So as leaders, we need to be literally living that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the switch to technology and a technology focused school, you mentioned earlier that you always had a fascination in terms of where software could fit in and then using the artistry and gamification and such. Education has a pivotal role to play in the ongoing technology. It's not even a boom anymore. It's just part of our life, and it's something that's moving at such a rapid pace. Without divulging any industry or school specific secrets, how do you keep a pace, and what's your
Yeah.
philosophy for ensuring that SAIT continues to be at the forefront of technology trends?
Yeah, such an amazing question. We were talking about this at the conference this morning as well, which was all about workforce inclusivity and things. And it's a great question because we're now like going, oh my gosh, what is AI going to be in 2 years? And we're asking AI what it's going to be in 2 years. Like that's where we're at with this sort of thing. And I'm in a tech school, so what is that going to look like? I know a few things about this. We need to be open to students getting skills, and something we've learned most recently is I don't think our product is necessarily information. Like I think the product that we offer at SAIT and in our school is community and culture, and we're in the journey with you. We're in the journey with faculty, and we're in the journey with students, and we want to be there for your growth and for your learnings. So that's the fundamental why. I think that's the true why. I think that we've made the mistake in post-secondary across the country or maybe the world to say that here's information, you pay for it, we give you a piece of paper, right?
Yeah.
And that's just not the value anymore. So we have to understand that we're just sort of really figuring out our why. Now we have to figure out how to pivot. So in the tech space, we're trying to come up with ways and look at loopholes. I'm trying to find loopholes. That's my favorite thing, is the sweet spot. Because if you wait to go through all the governance and then with government and then get it approved and then market, by the time it hits market, sometimes it's already outdated, right? To be honest.
Yeah.
So we're trying to build in our structure an electives into the system itself that you can literally plug and play, like take out, replace, so that we're always updating a curriculum with our own internal governance and building in the systems to support that. That's the best I have right now to be able to go, okay, little diploma right there. 5 of your courses are interdisciplinary electives. We're going to pilot some things over here in AI media that's brand new and throw it in and then take it out when it's no longer relevant. So I think that's the only way we're going to be able to pivot, but I think it's going to work. We're just starting this. So wish me luck tomorrow as I go to our council to talk about this, because we have to be able to pivot quickly.
Yeah, well, all the very best of luck, absolutely,
Thank you.
on that. It's such an interesting thing. Leo, my son, is 16, so in a couple of years' time, he's going to be looking at post-secondary education, and he's at the spot. We actually spent some time on holiday talking about. I said, "What do you want to do?" And he's kind of like, "Relax, Dad. I've got lots of time." And I'm like, "You actually don't, because it's going to go like that, and then you're going to be like, I'm running out of options." And there's probably a social component to it. Where are my friends going? And a convenience component to it and such. And as I teach also at the U of C, the University of Calgary, at an undergraduate level, it's one of these things where there's a lot of, I don't even know what the best word to use is. There's a lot of heaviness that has been attached to education. And I'm kind of thinking, like, this should be celebrated. We're here. And my message to Leo is pick whatever you want. So we did an exercise sitting by the pool one day where I says, what do you like? And what don't you like? And he's like, I don't know. You know what I like. I says, I need you to say it. So we started to see themes and things. And I said, so you could pick something along those lines or maybe stay away from things that were that. But my philosophy and Leo's mum's philosophy has always been, we just want you to learn how to learn. It really kind of doesn't matter what it is you're learning right now, Cherie. And just that opportunity to then, and it really resonated when you said you're building a community and you folks are partners within the community. We're going to go along the journey with you because we will learn as much from you as you will from us, and we'll have that collective growth pattern that we're looking to try and do.
We're all on this journey. Like we're all I don't know what I'll be doing in 10 years. Like, I have
Yeah,
no idea. Like, and to accept that is a big step because the kids today, I still think have this in their mind. What will I do when I grow up? I don't
yeah,
know, 1,000 things. Like, you barely know what a career even is. What does it mean to be in cybersecurity? It could mean a
yeah,
hundred things, right? You have different roles. So I think we need to start telling students, get in the right ocean. I think you hit that right. What are your interests? Be in the right pond
yeah,
of general interest, and then you'll find your way. It's
yeah.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, and not being super prescriptive if you can
No.
help it about what your way
Yeah.
is, because you just
Yeah.
don't know whether that's even going to be a thing by the time you get there.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. If you love tech, stay in tech, get ahead of it. Be ahead of it.
yeah,
But and like I knew I loved I love design and I love architecting, but I also love architecting human systems and leadership systems. So, you can apply it anywhere you like. And
yeah.
I just love organizational structures and helping people to have the fit for them and things like that. So it can translate to whatever you need it to.
Definitely. And in the
Yeah.
technology space, things are moving so quickly. To some people, that will be very exciting. To other
Mhm.
people, that might be quite daunting, where they're saying, I don't know that I'll ever be able to give up. In fact, I'll give another example. Chatting with Leo, Leo does my daily posts for me. He's the person that pushes them out to the various platforms. But he took a wee bit of a breather as he was working over the summer. And I said, look, I'll do them all. And then just literally just this morning, he said, listen, I'll take it back now. We're back in school. We're right on the right path. And I said, you haven't actually done it for a few weeks. A lot of things have changed on the platform. I need to walk and talk you through, the various, and that's just honestly, Cherie, in a few
Yeah.
weeks where I'm saying you'll waste more time trying to figure out where that button is that you used to see 3 weeks ago. I'll
Yeah.
walk and talk you through what the production process looks like so that it's going to take 10, 15 minutes per video rather than muscling away, not wanting to ask and such. And
Yeah.
that's just like a micro example of
Of
the space that you're
speed.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
Exactly
it's
that.
insane.
And
If somebody, okay, so I'll tell you what happened to me. So I was on my way to this conference this morning driving. Traffic was bad, and I have an AI app in beta that I use to help me think through that I talk to. So I could go, I put it on my car, and Miles or Maya, and I put it on LinkedIn. It says me AI. And if I'm trying to talk through what I want to do for stocks that day, or even my relationships or my husband or whatever, like, what do you think about this? Tell me about this. So I talk to this AI. It's kind of creepy. I don't, it's kind of, if I ever just need to sort through my ideas in the car, right? But if I saw myself doing that 2 years ago, I would have passed out. I would have been
yeah,
like off the grid. It's very, very odd. I never thought I would buy into some of this stuff, but
yeah,
this personal assistant AI stuff is just kind of mind blowing.
yeah, it
And
really
we
is.
don't even know where we'll be next year.
No,
So,
we don't. We
no,
don't. And it's almost. I understand the hesitation from some people in terms of AI, and it's going to overtake things, and it's going to eventually, kind of dehumanize everything we're doing. My philosophy right now, with the limited experience I have of it thus far, is that it's actually teaching, it's maneuvering me, it's moving me over to becoming more of a human than I ever was before, because it's going to take care of a whole bunch of things that I
yeah,
never, I never really cared to do. I just did it because I had to do it, and now that it minimizes that part of my life, and I get to be in this human experience for the majority of my time rather than whatever this blend was before. So that's my philosophy right now. I'll come back a couple of years. I might have changed my mind by then. I hope I don't. I think it's all about intention. It's all about how you're genuinely going to look at it and see how it's going to be able to serve, how it's going to be able to improve, how it's going to be able to actually make things better. And if you have that philosophy and mindset, then you're kind of off to a decent start already.
that's right. And you're ahead of it. And then you can be part of the ethics of it. And you can be part of the bigger decisions around it, which I'm thinking a lot about. So it's quite an honor to be in that space. Yeah, we get a little afraid sometimes. It's a very weird landscape in post secondary right now in higher education. But honestly, better to be on the front side. It's better
Yeah.
to be on the front side and go with the flow, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So in terms of technology, I mentioned earlier about, being a woman in a male cultured environment. I learned that phrase a wee bit earlier. I think I'm going to use that from now on instead of male dominated and a
Okay.
male cultured environment. You
Yeah.
know, what's your philosophies on trying to attract more females into the tech space? And have you seen any it's not
Mm.
early stage successes? There are an abundance of women there, but not as much as there should be. Is there something that you're doing specifically that gives the opportunity for it to be more? more even just under consideration, whereas it previously might not have been?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is about exposure and opportunity. So we're trying to set some pathways in place and have an entire class come to cybersecurity day sort of thing. So an entire class comes, maybe it's grade 8, maybe it's grade 10, and it's in some of those formative years, I guess, if you will. It's the exposure of that experience, I think, that will be remembered. And so creating those experiences, I think, are the most powerful things we can do for kids that are younger, rather than on the back end and trying to force the numbers to be equal. I think we need to start way earlier than we do. And I think if we do that, the natural inclination towards interest will happen.
Yeah.
I don't think I mentioned this so far in this, but I started out in math and computer science. So I went to University of Waterloo as a mathematics major. And I'll tell you, it was not a time for women in 1990 in mathematics and computer science. I think there were 400 people in my class. And if I recall, I tell this story to everyone. I'm sure it wasn't 4 women, 4 girls, 4 ladies, but that's sure what it felt like. I was not in a group that made a lot of sense. And the same was true in construction, because I was a project manager early on in my career. Design just turned into project management, and I was working with contractors, and I would go to trade shows, and I would get called honey, or I go to Home Depot, and I would say, hi, I need this floor, because I was going to lay it. And they would look to my husband and answer and I was like, okay. So it exists all the time.
Yeah.
However, so my solution for this is exposure, collaborative projects, finding the gaps in between the programs. So we have a capstone course, Proj 309, that is a collaborative interdisciplinary capstone. So it sort of forces our software students and our ITS students to work with our graphic design students on a project for a single solution. And they get to see each other's worlds and have a broader perspective. To me, that's the way, because it opens up the doors in your mind before we have to open up the physical doors. Like, I think it opens up kids' minds. And for me, that's my goal.
Yeah, and essentially normalizing the choice that you would have at some point in the future, not have people say what now? When they're
Yeah.
saying, "Oh yeah, I remember you talked about that after you went to the open house or the
Yeah.
the class for a week, or whatever the structure could
Yeah.
be," and then having that so that it becomes more of a, as I say, yeah, more of a normalized conversation, so that they can actually intentionally go on that path to giving
Yeah.
them
And they
opportunity.
know it's possible. So we thankfully, where our percentages, like, you're going to have fields, like I'm thinking of our IT program or whatever. It certainly is male dominated, but it's encouraging how many females are in that program now. So we are seeing that. Certainly enough to allow people to think I could also, so there's representation, they could
Yeah,
also do it. We might never get to 50-50, and actually that's okay, because people have
yeah,
different interests, and we want them to be in the right ocean for them or whatever. But
yeah,
knowing that we have these much higher percentages does open the door for people that really want to be there. And I think that those ladies are out there.
yeah.
It's been quite encouraging how we've seen the shift. That wouldn't have been the case 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think women bring to the technology space that would help enhance
Mm.
the industry?
Ooh, we should grab a glass of wine for this question, Gary. It's interesting, we're equal but different in some cases, and I think there, generally speaking, this is obviously I'm making a broad statement, but generally speaking, females have a bit of, when you see them in a project, they tend to have a bit of an organizational structure, and they put structure to things. Uh, they sort of nest it out. So they're sort of, have we thought of this? Have we thought of that? Did we get this done? Did we get this done? So they can keep a group on track.
Yeah,
I see that even in my MBA, everything is teamwork, and I'm like, oh, I've got a team. I've got a team of all guys, and trust me, I'm the one that's like, we got to get this date done, and so there's certainly differences there. Again, not always the case. I have a son who's very organized, um, but I think they bring that to the table. And when you're thinking about the tech space, that is a key
yeah,
skill, and an idea to turn into a business
yeah,
requires that sense of organization. So
yeah.
I'm very excited what will happen in that entrepreneurial space with some of our students and these diverse teams that have come together, because we have some opportunities that I can't even talk about today that are coming, that are so exciting for students that want to start some really cool businesses in Calgary. So, and that will be really interesting teams that have come together from Capstone.
Fabulous. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah.
So in terms of what's one piece of advice you would give to, younger women that are considering the technology space, considering the education space? What's one thing you've learned over time that you would say, make sure you do this or concentrate on that or don't even worry about that? What would you say that is?
Yeah. Um, I think it's impossible to have an idea what it is. And I think that I've heard this. My daughter would say this: I don't like computers. That would be the statement, right? Tech is not, that would be like saying, I don't like hammers. We,
Yeah.
we do like hammers because we like houses. So I think it's to look at the final product for whatever that is and
Yeah.
say, I love web design, or I love user experience. The tech becomes a tool. And if we understand that we want to get to, and I think of it this way, we want to get to what the innovation is and what the design aspect is and what the product is, and find that out. The tech is just the steps to get there. It's honestly a tool, no different than a calculator or scissors or a hammer.
Yeah.
When I started, I don't know what grade I would have been in, but I remember when calculators were allowed in high school. Can you believe that I went to high school when when calculators were just starting to be allowed as being in the classroom, and my mom was like, that's not real math.
Yeah.
They had charts, right?
Yeah.
So I think if we look at tech as being this evolving thing that get us to design solutions, I think that might help a lot of people. That certainly helped me. I wanted to live in a beautiful house,
Yeah.
and I ended up building many houses in game engine technology. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really the means to the end, or the whole entire support process for solving a solution, making things easier, making things more efficient, less expensive,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, and focusing on the journey to get there rather than
Yeah.
saying you need to sit and type some things into a computer, or you might have to
Yeah.
deal with some people that you think are less than desirable to deal with or something like that, focusing on the end state.
Yeah, because I think that we're missing the end state when people get into technology, they're getting into technological solutions for business problems, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think we're looking at it as being the technology's the thing, but actually the business solution is the thing. So it's kind of a fun switch in how to think about it, because you would not believe that the AI applications they build and software solutions and data analytics tools, it's mind blowing. It's very creative work.
Yeah.
And it impresses me daily. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I was chatting with someone recently. Actually, do you know what? I think it may have been the students in the class recently, and I said AI is not ChatGPT as a
Right.
substitute for Google. I mean, that's one very small part of it, but the things that AI are doing, are going to continue to do, and will absolutely tackle in the future is beyond what we can comprehend. If you think it's
Oh,
just something to help you write an email, or to help you recraft your resume, or something like that. So it's going to be very, very exciting to see what's happening, and it must be quite exciting to be in the space where you need to see what's happening in the future to be able
yeah.
to support the educational foundational parts.
Like, I'm learning so much. I can barely even process it, but the idea that we can have agents doing some of our background work for us that we personalize and set up. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like one of those things, like if you love puzzles,
yeah,
then this is for you, right? Like this is kind of like connections, and this will connect to here and that will connect to that. It's like coding. Any language is like that.
yeah,
What's connecting and what's broken. It's quite a fun challenge. So yeah, and that's only where we're at today. And I was watching something the other day. I can't even remember. I'm into Diary of a CEO. I think I was telling you, I watch it all
yeah,
the time, about the future of AI. It was kind of a little doom and gloom, but uh, where exactly will be, like, it will be uh, uh, almost like robots, and what could actually happen with what AI could do for us is kind of mind blowing. But
yeah,
again, there will still be a side of that we want people. So
yeah.
I think it's that combination that can be very, very interesting for sure.
Definitely, definitely.
Mhm.
Well, as you know, Cherie, this is called the Best You podcast, and I like to take this opportunity to ask each of my guests, what's one regular practice that Cherie employs to give you the best opportunity to be the best version of yourself each and every day?
Ah, that's really great. As a natural introvert, that's the only way I recharge. And so hiking in the forest is something that's really important. Um, getting good amount of sleep and drinking a lot of water and staying away from sugar and processed foods. This is just like the mom talk, but it's a game changer for how I feel and how I live in my skin every day. And when those things aren't in place and they get a little bit off, things can actually I can feel like not myself. So to be my best, most creative, most energetic self, I think I have to make sure that I do those things for sure. Especially the exercise part. That's really important for me. So you know what? I park far away from the institution every day to force myself to do that half-hour speed walk to and from the school. Saves me a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
That is my favorite thing that I do, Gary.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Erin
Yeah.
does something very similar
Amazing.
when she's on campus as well. Yeah, absolutely. And for very similar reasons. Exactly the same thing. I love it. Where can people find out more about you, Cherie?
I would love for people to add me on LinkedIn. So I'm definitely on LinkedIn. Check me out there. Certainly email me, Cherie.Bowker. It's just our first name dot last name at SAIT.ca. Find out more about our programs. If there are students or children of parents that would love to visit us for a day, we would love to host students for a day to just even do a try before you buy and see what we're like. And definitely come say hello. We're over in G106 at SAIT, and we just want to we're open for business, and we want to be as connected as we possibly can. So it's going to be a year of growth and nurture and community.
Absolutely tremendous. I knew this was going to be a beauty. Thank you very, very much for taking the time to come on today, Cherie. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Gary. Thank you so much.